Yo, what's up? It's the Reach Brothers.
Hey, you're listening to Cigar City Radio.
Cigar City Radio is sponsored by No Clubs and StateMedia.com. Find out about upcoming concerts in Tampa Bay by visiting StateMedia.com and tagging No Clubs on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Use the hashtag #WeAreConcerts.
Here's what No Clubs has coming up this summer. Thursday, June 20th. Bowling for Soup and Real Big Fish with Nerf Herder at Janice Live. Love that. That's a great lineup. Tuesday, July 30th. August Burns Red brings their 10 Years of Constellations tour to the Ritz Ybor with Silverstein and Silent Planet. Tuesday, August 6th at the Orpheum, Baroness is bringing the Gold and Gray tour to Ybor. Thursday, August 15th at Janice Live, Humphreys McGee and Magic City Hippies are going to be in town. Saturday, August 17th at the Ritz Ybor, you can catch Pedro the Lion and Me Without You. Sunday, August 18th at Vinoy Park, we have Revolution, the Good Vibes Summer Tour with Protege, Collie Buds, and DJ Mackle. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of smoke in the air. For more info on all these shows and to see the rest of the lineup coming to town throughout the year, head to statemedia.com and use the hashtag #WeAreConcerts.
Welcome to Cigar City Radio. The song you just heard was Smoke Jumper by A Deer Horse. It's off the EP Everything Rots That Is Rotten. I'm your host, Randy Ojeda, and making the magic happen, a man who is a true daddy, if I'll say so myself, Mr. Jason Solanes.
I've only ever been called daddy by one person, and I only ever saw that person one time, and I'm never going to see them again.
That sounds like the
Thank
worst
God.
Father's Day story ever.
Yeah.
You just went out for a pack of smokes and never came back?
No.
I don't even want to know the story. I don't even want to know. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Our guests on this episode are Manny and Megan from Daddy Kool Records, which is a record store in St. Petersburg, Florida. They've been a long time part of the St. Petersburg scene. It's a great place to obviously go and get records, but you can buy concert tickets and merch and all sorts of cool stuff at Daddy Kool. They recently moved to their new location in the Warehouse Arts District in St. Pete. They're at 2430 Terminal Drive South, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33712. You should definitely go and check them out. They have an amazing selection of records, and they're a really cool staff there. They're going to be doing more events in their new location since there's more room there now. They have an actual parking lot now, so you don't have to park in the street. And they're still committed to stocking some of the best records around and just overall being a great record store. If you're a local band, we talk a little bit in this episode about how you can get your music in Daddy Kool Records and how they can sell it for you. And they're just really, really awesome. I'm really glad we had this podcast. And for the record, oh, I get it. Yeah, for the record. Yeah. I was going to say, for the record, Manny actually reached out to me about doing this interview, but he wanted us to do an interview with somebody else at the record store, which is something we'll eventually do. But I really wanted to just talk to Manny and talk about Daddy Kool and hear the history of the record store, because that really interests me. So this is kind of our introduction to them, and hopefully we'll be doing some more cool stuff with Daddy Kool Records And that's Daddy Kool with a K, of course.
Daddy.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be doing a lot more cool stuff with them in the future. But for now, here it is, Daddy Kool Records. Time that I've been here. I was in Chicago during Record Store Day, so I missed the Record Store Day grand opening festivities. But this place is amazing. So
thank you.
I mean, first tell us a little bit about the new space, about how this kind of came together.
Well, we're located in the Warehouse Arts District, and the people that own the building that we're in, the Behar architectural firm, actually reached out to us once they heard that we were going to need a new space. So
yeah,
so we lucked out. 4,000 square foot warehouse, beautiful building, solid, right on the Pinellas Trail, and it was kind of hard to say no.
Yeah, super high ceilings too, which always adds to it.
About 18, 20 feet.
Hey, there you go. So we can if we stack all of ourselves on top,
we
of
might
each other,
touch the top.
We might touch the top. Yeah, it's a big difference from the last location over in Central, on Central Avenue.
Very big, not only size wise, but just a whole new atmosphere as well. What we're doing down here now is what we did on Central Avenue almost 20 years ago when we opened up, which is pioneering. Obviously Central Avenue was something at one point in time, and then it became not much. And that's when we moved in.
Right.
And then it became something else, and that's when we moved out.
That's a good way to look at it. Because, tell me a little bit about the history of Daddy Kool and how things started. Because I know you were on the other side of the street for a while, I remember.
Yeah. When we first opened up, we were basically right next to the State Theater, across the street from where we ended up. And but the store actually opened up in Bradenton in 1985.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tony opened up the store in 85 in Bradenton. Then he moved it to Sarasota. And I had been working with Tony and Dave at the State Theater for a good number of years, and they knew I wanted to open up my own store. So when the time was right, they said, hey, let's do this. And I said, okay. And so we opened up the St. Petersburg store on Central Avenue, and about a year or two later, Tony ended up closing the Sarasota store. This was a time when a lot of stores were closing. And at that time, Tony was living in Sarasota, and he was commuting back and forth. So when we would have a show at the State Theater, he was getting home at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And he was like, that's time to end this. So he closed the Sarasota store, and we just went full throttle in the St. Pete store. And this is now our 5th location in St. Petersburg.
Wow, so you've really been moving all around St. Pete then.
Yeah. We're like nomads.
Yeah, hopefully this will be more of a permanent
Let's
spot.
hope, yeah.
Right. Now, when you say Tony, you mean Tony from No Clubs, right?
Tony from No Clubs.
Okay,
cool. Gaetano Rifugiato and Dave Hundley.
Yeah. Shout out to Tony, who, No Club sponsors our podcast, so, we definitely love them.
They do a lot of great work in this town.
Definitely. So the store kind of started in the Central Avenue location, and then has it always been Daddy Kool, or did you rebrand at some point, or?
No, we basically always been Daddy Kool. It's
Okay.
been Daddy Kool Records and Tapes. It's been daddykool.com. It's been, but it's always Daddy Kool.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about Daddy Kool is it's like the spot where you go and, you get tickets for local shows, and it's like a part of the community. It's not just kind of like a faceless record store.
It's not an appendage.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you really supporting local music. I was just checking out the local music section over there. A lot of records from bands that have been on this podcast. Shout out to D Alps and Jordan Esker and a bunch of cool bands that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a great music scene in this town, and we want to support it. We want to see these bands grow.
Yeah. So everybody was. I remember being a little worried when I first heard that Daddy Kool that the location was going to change. And kind of, things were kind of up in the air with the Central Avenue block, and I guess things are still, really changing there. So, what happened there? Like, were you guys getting, a lot of pressure from the city, or like what was the deal?
Rent.
What's that?
Rent.
That's it? Right. They were just upping it?
It tripled on us.
Holy shit.
So it was time to go.
That's insane.
Well, really what happened was our building, it had been in the family for a long time. People that owned it, eventually they ended up selling it. They sold it for so much money that the people that moved in, the people that bought it have to charge crazy rents to make their, return on investment.
Yeah.
So we were a victim.
Yeah. A lot of businesses on that block were victims, it seems like.
Every single one is going to be a victim.
Yeah, it's like a totally new area there.
Mm-hmm. Unless you own property, you are subject to the whims of the marketplace.
Yeah. Well, that's the real estate lesson, kids. If you're listening, buy property.
Buy your property.
Yeah, buy your property if you can. So, what was the task of what was it like to move that store from there to here? You're gesturing towards Megan. Megan, I'm assuming you were heavily involved in this move.
Yeah, it was really hard. It was like very long weeks. I think I worked like 80 hours one week, and Manny was like, "You're probably double that somehow." Wow. Yeah, and not to mention that we closed the Central store probably 3 weeks before Record Store Day, and that was our grand reopening. So
Yeah.
we spent
Jesus.
all that time just like redoing our inventory, like bringing things over. And it was like such a process to move in here too, because it was like a really quick time span that we like signed the lease and we're like, all right, we're gonna move in 2 months, and they had to like renovate this place basically. So
Wow.
it was a lot.
So what was I'm a nerd about like inventory management and that kind of thing. So like, what was that process like?
It took about a week, and
Okay.
all of our employees. It's crazy and still not perfect, but the last time we did it was probably like 5 years ago, so it felt like a good time to move in a new space and have everything right, more
Yeah.
or less.
It's like the
Inventory days are never perfect.
No.
No. Yeah.
Did you at least have a scanning gun that you could?
We had like
Loop
4
things with?
different setups with computers and
4 different POS systems? How?
still took a good 5 days.
Yeah, I thought we were going to knock it out in 1 or 2 days, and it really took like 1 or 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very labor intensive. We took our current inventory at the time when we closed, brought everything down to 0 level, and then scanned everything back in, one piece at a time. And I really thought that we were going to knock it out in a couple of days. And a couple of days went by, and we were all there working on 4 different stations for 10 hours a day, and it was like we weren't even close.
Oh, wow.
As we were like checking things in again, they were like moving our like bins out of the store too. So it was like, wait, don't take those yet, we haven't done them. Or like, bringing things that were already like back in the inventory over, or like, I don't know. It was crazy.
Wow. So it's like opening a whole new store basically at that point. I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
With so much stuff.
Wow. And then you're doing this all at the same time as Record Store Day is coming, which I'm assuming Record Store Day is its own set of challenges and inventory and
Yeah,
getting all
hundreds
that
of
together.
titles and going to the old address or the new one. It was like really crazy.
Yeah, were you getting shipments to the old store and then having to bring them over here?
Yeah, luckily our like delivery drivers all knew, we're all like pretty close with them with all the packages we get every day, and then they all knew like, oh, Daddy Cool's not there anymore, we got to bring it over here. So they went out of their way to like drop stuff off for us and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big shout out to those guys.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And records are heavy. They're not.
Yeah, so yeah, for like our UPS guy, if he saw it came on his truck, he would move it over to the other guy's truck. And if our FedEx guy saw it, he delivers it downtown, but he picks up in the Warehouse Arts District at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, he would bring our packages to, wow. So we got really lucky in that respect, because there were, despite getting the word out that we were moving, we still were receiving packages to the old address.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's one of the things people don't realize about record stores. It's like everybody wants to open their own record store and think that they're like John Cusack and High Fidelity, but it's like it's a lot of management of the product,
Yeah, it is fun, but it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
People don't really realize the number of hours that it takes to make it click.
So after all this work, all this weeks and weeks of prep and everything, then you had the grand reopening at Record Store Day. And I remember seeing the videos and pictures on Instagram, and it was like all these aisles here were just filled with people. Like I've never seen so many people in one record store. So what was that like to see, like, okay, now things have happened?
It was pretty crazy. There was like a line all day of people trying to get in the store. But we also had like the indie flea out in the parking lot.
Oh,
so
cool.
there was like things to do out there too if there was no room in here. But it was really fun. It was definitely different than like a normal record store day. It was like a lot more like drawn out whole day festivity as opposed to like, oh, we open at 8 a.m. and like everyone rushes in to like grab their stuff and it kind of like calms down a little bit. But
Yeah, for us it was we really had the action going until we locked the doors.
Wow.
For the night, we had our early morning rush. We had the indie flea market, so we actually have a parking lot where we can do things like that. We had food trucks.
Great.
And then at night we had live music, and we had Cass Street Deli out here as well. So we went all day hard.
That sounds like a party, man. That sounds great.
Yeah.
And yeah, what's it like to have a parking lot now? Instead of just people fighting for this few spaces on Central Avenue.
It's a blessing.
I'm sure.
people are a lot nicer.
Probably.
I
yeah.
couldn't find a parking spot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Or, people would come in yelling at us because our car got towed. And it's like, that's not our parking lot that your car got towed from, because we don't even have a parking lot.
Yeah.
So it's great. Now we have a parking lot.
So
People
now you
come
can
in.
tow people if you
Now
want.
we can tow people. And there's plenty of, all the tow truck places are located in the Warehouse Arts District too. So
Very cool.
But no, nobody's getting towed. So please come.
Yeah. Please come. You won't get towed. Probably not.
No, not going to happen.
So tell us about this 3D art mural that we're like kind of sitting inside this mural right now.
We are sitting inside this piece that was produced by Ricky Watts. And as you can see from the backside of this 3D mural, it could not have been possible without the help of Casey Paquette and John Stein. So, and for me, it's really important, that we keep this mural as intact as possible. This building would, during the Shine mural festivities, they would host parties as well. So we actually inherited this mural.
Oh, okay.
And we also inherited the mural that the Vitality Brothers put up over here as well.
That's cool.
So it wasn't like we moved in, we had this big blank canvas, and we decided to do these things. So this Ricky Watts mural was here. I really like the whole 3D aspect of it. And so for me, it's a big, hot, like, Instagram spot. I love it when people come back here and take pictures of it. At the old location, people were always taking pictures of themselves in the record store, or their friends holding up, records over their faces and things like that. So I wanted this to be here. And then, of course, not only how important Shine is, to this area, but how important Casey was to the area as well. So for me, it's really important that we keep this, as long as possible.
Yeah. So have you always lived here in the St. Pete area? Is that where you're from, man?
I was born in Tampa.
Oh, okay. You're born in Tampa.
I was born in Tampa, and and then I started working at the State Theater in 1995, and started commuting. And commuted for a good number of years.
Bless you, man. That's a hell of a commute.
Yeah, it really, and in the end, when you're doing it, you convince yourself that it's not so bad.
Sure.
I was at that time I was living in Port Tampa, jump right on the Gandy, right on the interstate, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and I'm here. But once I stopped making the commute. Then I was like, holy shit, what was I doing at that time?
Right, yeah.
And now I have a life. So it's great. But I'm from the area, and as is Megan as well. So, we have strong ties with St. Pete and the area.
Yeah. How long have you worked here, Megan?
I worked here a little over 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, I started here because my friend Heather, who I was acquaintances with, she was working here. She got an internship for school, and then kind of just took on the whole social media and like digital marketing side of things. And she's like, we're hiring someone, like, do you want to work here? And I was like, sure. And now Heather and I live together, but she doesn't work here anymore. But yeah.
So you're carrying the
Yeah.
torch.
She carries the
Lots of-
torch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megan's modest. She takes care of all of our social media, all of our website, daddykool.com, all of our activities, everything that we do. So she takes on a big load, but she's pretty modest about it.
Yeah, Megan, you should be less modest. That's a lot of stuff to do.
It's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
Every day. It's different being in this location. There's a lot more like intentional time here as opposed to like being right on Central and people coming in like, I want to tell you this story about my record collection, or like, you know, just like, or, you know, which is awesome and cool, and I still want to hear the stories, but like, come to the store and like, you know, buy something if you want to, or just look at stuff, but like not just because like you saw it and it reminded you.
It reminded you of being in the 70s and having your
I'm just
record
like,
collection.
oh, great. Like 10 minutes later, I'm like, I have to go in the back to finish some stuff.
Yeah. How often does that happen where you guys get customers who, you know, want to sell their record collection, but it's just like, you know, a ton of like, you know, that 70s era stuff that everybody has, you know?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, all the time. You know, I call that the meat and potatoes. You know,
Right.
the meat and potatoes, you know, they sell all the time. So that's all right as long as they're in good shape. When they're not in good shape, then, you know, there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like people, you know, back in the day didn't treat records like collector's items the way we do now. So people would, you know, throw the discs everywhere and like, you know, I remember I inherited a bunch of my dad's records, you know, not inherited because he's still alive, but he gave me a bunch of his records. And like, you know, he wrote his name on all of them and like signed things and like drew on them and stuff. And it's like, well, you know, what am I supposed to do with this, you know, Sgt. Pepper's where all the Beatles' eyes are crossed out, you know? Like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah, exactly. It's hard. You know, definitely a lot of people would write their names on them because what would you do back then? Okay, here's my record. I'm loaning it out to my friend. All the records look the same, but mine's the one that has my name on it.
Yeah,
you know? So, you know, or when I was a kid, we had to take our 45s to the elementary school dance, you know, so all my old 45s still have, you know, my name on them.
That's pretty rad. Yeah. I used to do the same thing with like my Super Nintendo games or my Nintendo games and write, you know, my initials on it when I'd give my cousins one of the copies because I wanted to make sure I got that
Make
back.
sure it comes back.
Yeah, and oftentimes it would not still, even with the name on there.
But, you know, also on the flip side of that coin, you know, you had a lot of people who took really great care of their records. So those are the ones that we really cherish and we're able to price for a little bit more.
Yeah. What's the holy grail for you for records? Like, is there a record that you've been searching for in the store or one that you've gotten that you just, you know?
Well, you know, I mean, just this past record store day, we had a holy grail sale with Reverb.
Oh, wow.
So they reached out to us. They picked 10 stores throughout the country, and we were one of the stores that they picked. And they said, you find a Holy Grail record, hide it in your store, and you know, you price it at $1, and we're going to help promote this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What was the record?
It was a mobile fidelity version of Dark Side of the Moon.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For $1?
And it was $1.
Wow. Yeah. Lucky person who found that.
Yeah, They Hate Change, the band They Hate Change.
Yeah.
They're the ones who
Andre
found it.
found it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah.
Did a lot of people come specifically to try to find that record, or was it just more of a Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably had people asking all day.
All
I'm sure.
day, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. Man. Yeah, that's a really cool record to get for $1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. It was
Yeah.
great. But Record Store Day was awesome. You know, we've been really fortunate every year to have Record Store Day be the best day sales-wise of the year for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always increased each year, you know, over in the last year, usually about by 10%. And this year for Record Store Day, we increased by 20%. So
That's great.
The support from the community was fantastic. You know, like Megan said, we had people lined up outside until 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's
waiting
amazing.
to get in.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so how do you keep, you know, because obviously it's great. Record Store Day is amazing. I'm glad people support Record Store Day, but how do you keep that going throughout the year? That's the real question.
The answer to that is events. And so, you know, Megan's got a great event coming up.
Tell us about it, Megan. Don't be shy.
It's a Plantasia reissue listening party. So we're teaming up with O'Berry Succulents and planning like a little plant theme party where we're going to play the record and have it for sale on green vinyl. And
That's cool.
Yeah. Amel Lee is going to do some like plant inspired collages, and she's actually going to be the artist of June. Yeah, I was like, what month is it?
I don't know either.
She's going to put some art up this Saturday for Art Walk. And some of them are going to be like the plant inspired. It's going to be like a plant theme, but she's saving some for the party too on the 22nd.
Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah, and I think Gnaw Dogs is coming out, which is a
Oh yeah, some
like
hot
a
dogs.
vegan
Yeah.
hot dog stand that's like pretty new and awesome. So yeah, we have like a lot of fun stuff planned. Little photo booth and bring a plant to listen to the album with.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Super rad. So are you going to be utilizing like this space back here that we're in for these events?
Yeah, mainly this area since it's so cleared out and spacious. Jamie from O'Berry Succulents was like, we need to have a Daddy Kool prom. I was like,
Yeah, Daddy Kool
yeah.
prom.
And
Let's
we
do
have
it.
like a little dance floor back here. I have a disco ball at my house, so
There you go.
I think that's all we need.
That's it. You got the disco ball, you got the space. That's it. And you got great music, great tunes. Yes. So one thing I noticed walking around here in the store is how many more cassettes there are. I don't know if that was like that at the old store, but you know, cassettes are coming back, right? Like that's
Cassettes
the new
are
thing.
back in a big way.
Yeah.
You know, my theory is it's all kids who buy the cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
They're the people who buy, you know, a car that was made in the late 90s, early 2000s, and they still have cassette decks in them. And, you know, you can get a brand new cassette for less than $10, walk home with some change. And, you know, and you're still supporting the artist and you're getting you're getting a physical copy of the album.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, cassettes. It's really, Randy, it's the same number of cassettes that we had at the old store.
Okay.
It's just the display of them is more right in your face.
It's right when you walk in. They are right there.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but you know, a lot of great new records are coming out on cassette.
That's
so
true.
there's, you know, and it's, you know, we adapt, you know.
Yeah.
And so if this is what the market tells us they want, then we're going to have it. So we have them. You know, it's great for us to be able to price a brand new release for under $10.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I know what it's like when you're saving up your allowance money, you know, to get a record.
Yeah.
Or, you know, or you're, you know, saving up, you know, from your paycheck from work to get a record. And so to be able to do it for less than $10, it's good.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's one thing we've actually seen from the artists that we manage is that cassettes are actually our biggest seller now because a lot of the artists that we manage are in New York and you know they're playing shows in New York and these kids go to these shows and like you know they don't have the space for a whole record collection, you know, so they go to the show and they still want to support the bands so they can buy, you know, under, you know, like you said, under $10 or $5 or whatever it is for a cassette. And then they are still supporting the band. They have something physical, you know, that they can add and have a cool collection to display, but you know, it's not taking up the space of a record collection.
Absolutely.
You know,
and then also, you know, the portable cassette player is being made again. So you know,
is it?
Yeah. So we sell them too. You know. So
I need to get one.
Yeah.
You get a Sony Walkman. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not the Sony Walkman, but it's the you know it's the knockoff version.
Right.
You know? So
yeah.
it's only $20, not $120. But yeah, it's you know it's available. You know, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Because I honestly, I'm the same way. Like I get a lot of cassettes because, you know, I'm going to shows all over the country and, you know, bands want to give me something. They're like, hey, you know, take our record, but I don't want to fly with a vinyl and have it, you know, snap in half in my suitcase or whatever. Yeah. So I end up coming home with a lot of cassettes, and then my wife's like, hey, why are you getting all these cassettes? You don't have any place to play them. You know, there's nothing.
Yeah. But there's good decks out there, pretty cheap still, used decks that you can get. Yeah.
I'm going to have to search, go through the thrift shops, find me some
Yeah, please do. I mean, each year there's another event called Cassette Store Day, which is kind of like a takeoff on Record Store Day. It happens in October. And each year we've been really lucky to put out our own Daddy Kool cassette.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's been curated by Billy Summer and Alexander from Alexander and the Grapes. He's Viva La Records. He's put out a few different mixtapes. He puts it together. We sponsor it, give it away for free. It's pretty cool and rad music.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I need to get on that.
You do. We do. We'll do it. We can work on doing a Cigar City Radio one. For,
that would be really cool.
It's in October. You know,
I would love to do that.
The other great thing about cassettes too is that the turnaround time on them is really good. So, and we're always like last minute kind of folks. So we're sending off the master to the place. Like with only 3 weeks to go.
Oh yeah,
it's like please come back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and the Plantasia party should be a lot of fun. The Plantasia album came out in the 70s. It was this really cult album that was that you play for your plants.
Okay.
And so in the electronic synthesizer world, it has really elevated itself to this status of, hey, this is the album that you have to find. But of course, it wasn't readily available, and now of course it will be.
That's amazing.
So yeah, we're pretty excited about that. Our events, we'll have the Plantasia event, which is June 22nd, from 12 to 2, I do believe, and then each second Saturday, since we're in the Warehouse Arts District, we're taking part of the art walk. So on the second,
that's the second Saturday.
That's the second Saturday.
Okay.
So each second Saturday, we would have a new visual artist in the store, and then the plan is then you tie that in with musical guests and things like that outside. So and each second Saturday, we opened on the second Saturday. So each second Saturday, we have new artists. So like this month we have Emily Tan's art up on our walls.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So we treat part of our store as a gallery space as well.
That's great. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, and that's one of the things I was saying at the beginning was like this. You really are a community store, and I think that's one of the reasons why Daddy Kool's stuck around as long as it has. Because running a record store is hard. I know, like there's a lot of stores that are closing. And you guys are thriving.
Thanks.
So,
well, yeah, it goes on to the people that support us as well. People realize that, they realize the value that they bring, and they do come see us. And if you are a visual artist, reach out to us and submit so that we can have an opportunity to put your stuff up on the walls too.
Yeah, there you go. Any artists listening to this, and I'm sure there are many. Take that opportunity.
Megan's got a form up on the website and all, so check it out.
Yeah, Megan, you'll be the one taking all these submissions then, I guess.
Yeah, nothing goes by without Manny's approval.
Oh, okay.
It's not all me.
Yeah. So what's on the horizon for the store? I know you mentioned the event in June 22nd, but beyond that, I know you were talking to me a little bit earlier before the cameras started, or before the mics started rolling, if you will, about some other ideas that you have for the store and this space. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think, where we want to take this is to where we're having live music being performed, and almost in a tiny desk concert type of fashion, where we're streaming it, allowing people to maybe purchase it as well digitally. And what we want to do is we want to get into the manufacturing and the production of it as well, not just a, hey, come see this show type of thing.
Yeah.
We've been really lucky. We've had people who want to work with us to help make it happen too. So, and then we want to get into more of what we're doing right now. Podcasts and just being a source of information. We've always been a source of information, but now we have to have even more accessibility to that information for people. So that's kind of where we want to go.
That makes sense. Because I know like in the past, like the Daddy Kool Records part, you've been like actually releasing records and stuff in the past.
Oh, yeah.
And you were just talking about the compilation stuff too. So I feel like this is kind of the natural evolution of that.
Yeah, the cassettes are a lot of fun because we don't have to throw down a lot of money to make it happen. And then, like you said, with the lead time and things like that, as far as having to get a piece of vinyl out, it's a little bit more difficult. But I think that for us, maybe trying to do a little bit more with the live music and then actually making it accessible, for people can go a long way. I mean, we've had a lot of great in-stores, Black Angels and
shout out to Black Angels.
Yeah, Lights, Saves the Day, Lucero.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had a lot of great in-stores, but, after that, it was kind of like, one and done type of situation. So I'm hoping that we can, kind of make it a little bit more of a brand.
Yeah. I mean, I love the Daddy Kool name, so you might as well, brand it. That's great stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah. Megan, what are your goals for the new space?
Just to like have a welcoming spot for everyone. We want to make it like, we initially wanted to, do the shows every weekend and have like maybe some beer sales, but since we're kind of like running into like, a little bit of permitting issues and whatnot.
Yeah, regulatory stuff.
Yes, yeah. We're just trying to like figure out, other ways to like create that space for everyone to, like, maybe some markets and stuff like that. And like just the Warehouse Arts District is like a huge community already with all the businesses here, like less retail, but like art spaces and breweries. So just like teaming up with like our neighbors and making fun stuff happen.
Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah.
So what's one thing about running and working at a record store that people wouldn't realize or that people don't know about? What's the secret?
I don't know how Manny does all the ordering. That's something.
Tell us, man. We got him right here. That's all. How do you do all the ordering?
I roll the dice.
Okay.
See what sticks. The one thing I don't think that people would really realize is how much time is involved. I'm really lucky to have not only a supporting staff, that allows me to do what I need to do, but then my family, and my girlfriend, really allow me to be able to do those things as well, without. They understand that it's not a 40-hour-a-week job.
Yeah.
I'm here 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and so I think that, people, they do have that high fidelity, aspect that all I do is sit around, smoke pot and listen to records all day. And that's a tiny fraction of my job.
Yeah. That's a very small part of it. Yeah.
We'd like it to be a little bit more than that, but
sure.
It's the time. I don't think that people really realize also how expensive it is. The margins are really, really minimal when it comes to vinyl. And it's a one-way item, meaning when you buy it, it's yours, as opposed to like a compact disc or a DVD, where if you don't sell it, within a certain amount of time, you can return it for a credit. Not full credit, but you can return it for a credit. Whereas this record, that we're making very little margin on, if we don't sell it, we don't sell it.
Yeah, you're stuck with it.
We're stuck with it. And so, there's other avenues, to try to move those records once that time has come. But it's still a lot of money that you have to lay out.
Yeah. I never really thought about it that way, as it being a one-way product like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
So that's a commitment.
Yes, it's a lifelong commitment.
Yeah.
We've been marking down a lot of stuff, have like a little system in place that, something sticks around more than like, X amount of time. We'll like mark it down, then we'll mark it down again. Like, so we always have a bunch of stuff on sale and people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I found this for like 15% off.
Yeah.
And it's like, newer title, not like brand new titles, but just something that we tested out. And like, I've never known someone that could just have as much music knowledge and like broadness that Manny can like pull into the store. Like every single person's like, who picks this music out? Like, is it all of you? Is it a collective thing? And I'm like, it's mainly Manny, doing all of it. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Well, then how do you decide, Manny? Like, how do you decide what to order?
Well, there's a few things that I do. We're lucky enough to be in a coalition of independent music stores throughout the country. And so through that coalition, there are certain titles that record labels are interested in promoting. So those records are kind of like automatically in the store.
Okay.
So that ticks off a few boxes right there. And then, we also, I've been doing this for 30 years now, so you kind of get an idea of not everything, but certain things that might click with your demographic, with your core group of buyers. And then also, hey, who's coming on tour?
Yeah.
That has a lot to do with it as well. If this band is going to be supporting this record on a tour, then that's going to maybe, help tick off that box. And really, a lot of it also has to do with just previewing stuff and seeing what's popping, what kind of buzz does this band have. And lastly, there's tastemakers, the people that come into your store that have been coming into your store for a long time, and that what they're buying has some legs. Mm-hmm. And so if they come in and they say, hey, are you gonna get the new XYZ album? And I'm like, oh, my ears perk up, and I'm like, okay, let's make sure that we've got that XYZ album in stock when it comes in.
Yeah.
So do you feel like the demographic of your customers has changed since you moved to the new location? She mentioned the nostalgic traveler earlier. So I know you get less of that because you don't have the Central Avenue foot traffic. Do you feel like that's changed the way that you have or are going to have to order records?
I think that what's happened so far is that we're getting what I call our locals back, because they're able to actually come and find a place to park. So if you were driving, those people are now, they have a place to park, so they're coming. I think that as far as like age-wise, I think that we're still seeing a nice spread. We're still seeing people college age and high school age kids, who are still coming. Less of the younger set, because it's not like they're going downtown and hanging out downtown for a while. But then we're also still seeing some of the what I call the hardcore travelers, who are the ones who come into town, look online, what are the good record stores, and they're going to find you no matter what. And so I think there has been a shift, but the shift has just been it's the glass is half full kind of shift, whereas before the glass was really overflowing.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about the hardcore travelers, but I guess that makes sense. That's one of the things I do whenever I go to a new town is like, what are the record stores? What are the cool places that I can check out music? And I love going to the local section and seeing what, I pick up a record or probably a cassette, of some local band I've never heard of, just to see what it's like,
Yeah, that's what we do, when we go out of town. That's one of the first things that I'm looking up even before we go out of town. Is like, what record stores are close to where we're staying? And, yesterday we had a family here from Tennessee that own a record store in Tennessee. And, they bought a bunch of records and we're shipping it to them today.
That's great.
And it's like, they have a record store.
Yeah. You'd think they would be over it,
Yeah, but they bought enough to ship,
That's really cool. So if you're speaking of like local music, if you're a local band or a local, independent record label or something, how would you get your product into Daddy Kool?
You could bring it in and we put it on consignment.
There you go.
Yeah.
That seems easy.
Yeah. You just need to bring in your album on CD or vinyl or cassette or whatever, and we have a little form to fill out, and basically when we sell it, the artist gets back 100% of the profit. So
oh wow.
Yeah, whatever they put it out for is, whatever someone paid for is what we'd give back to the local artist too. That's
really great. So you don't take anything from it then. It's just giving the artist that platform.
Yeah.
It's definitely a way of supporting the local scene, in a small way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and it's best if you bring us a professional looking package with a UPC barcode that we're able to, scan and keep track of your stuff. You we're going to put our best forward. So, please, you guys put your best foot forward too.
Yeah, don't just make a CDR and write the name of the band on it and bring it in here, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. That'd be a good way to go. So we're pretty much out of time here, but I just wanted to, before we wrap up, just give you the opportunity to, any final thoughts or anything to add for our Cigar City Radio listeners, the Daddy Kool fan base.
Don't be shy, Megan.
This is your platform now, Megan.
Definitely follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay updated. We're posting multiple times a day about all the stuff going on, new releases. We have a lot of giveaways and free fun events planned.
Cool.
Yeah,
Manny, anything else?
Well, I would ditto that effort, and I'd also say, check on our website, daddykool.com, for concert tickets that we have available online and in the store. And I also just want to say thank you to you guys for coming out here and doing this. I had no idea that you do this without notes.
Oh yeah, no, I don't do notes, man. This is us. We're talking right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of the podcast. A lot of great bands that you've had on there, and really, I had no idea.
Oh, I
It always
appreciate
sounds
that.
really, really good.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thank you so much. We definitely, we love doing this, and we love meeting people like yourselves and being a part of the music community here too. So hopefully we'll be doing more podcasts here at the new Daddy Kool. Maybe we'll get some bands in here and do some live sessions.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot, y'all. Have a great rest of the episode.
And now the queen of hearts is dead. I didn't know just how I felt until the dark eyes were on me, and I knew just what was meant to be.
Hopefully